And we are live. Before we started, Jeff, I did want to mention recently, actually, there was a contest, and I actually submitted 10 puns into the pun contest. Do you have any
Oh,
idea how many of them I got selected?
no. How many?
No pun in 10 did.
Man, all right. We need to restart. This is
The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, and no puns in me. So
Everyone's trying to surprise Jeff. Everyone's coming at him from all sides. And in fact, even your own kid, before we recorded, tried to pull one on the old man.
yeah, I'll just let everyone know what that sounds like. But here it goes. So if you heard that, they now know I record, and they set in whoopee cushions on my chair here.
That's so perfect. I do love they're trying to prank you though. That's at what age did that start? Because mine aren't quite there. Like they'll try to joke as in like, oh, they're not in the room, and like, Dad, where am I? That's kind of the extent of it, but not actual pranks. When did the prank start?
So about a year ago, my son knows how to rickroll us.
Oh, gee.
And our whole house is hooked up to Google Home with Spotify, so he can ask Google to rickroll us in any room that he so wishes at any time. So maybe that's when the prank started. But now they're getting. See, now I have to get them back though. You can't let like a prank go unanswered. So
No, if you come for the king, you'd best come to kill. So
don't miss, right?
Don't miss. So everybody, it's so great to be back here. We had some more move-related delays, but here we are back on the air. So great to be so, and to keep things going with the summer, just right where we left off. It's beer picks of the week.
Yep.
I'm continuing my world tour. We had England, we were Scotland. Well, that's not much of the world. That's more.
Well,
I had Hawaii. Well, again, yeah, that's not really. I can't really call it much of a world tour. Anyways, because another nation that anyways at least is New Zealand, and this one which we're drinking this week is from the Renaissance Brewing Company Voyager Ipa. So hailing from New Zealand. I don't know if you've ever had Innocent Gun. I think it is. It's
No.
I might be. I hope I'm not misquoting it, but they put their beer in another spirit barrel, and it really comes through. That kind of hit me with this. I almost thought that's what it was going to be.
okay.
Is that there was some sort of extra finishing, because it is this really wild, kind of spicy finish to it, which they even kind of call it out here. So inspired by the boldly hoppy ales of old, Voyager IPA is a rich, satisfying ale with an emphatic hop bite. Okay, that is a good way of putting it.
Wow. Yeah, that's got the vocabulary out for all that.
Like, we generously hop it first with kiwi hop varieties, and then finish it with fugels for a spicy floral finish, resulting in a ale fit for an emperor. So yeah, it definitely hit. It is very notable. When I first drank it, I did not quite a spit take, fortunately, but it it did not just go quietly into the background. So as I'm sipping and enjoying it, though, it's quite tasty. Again, probably not something you're going to have 2 or 3 of, because it is a bit bolder, but delicious and very interesting. Worth a pickup if you can find it. So Renaissance Brewing Company Voyager IPA. Yourself,
Okay.
Jeff, what are you sipping on tonight?
Well, I'm not going worldwide. I'm staying local. So
Very
it's
nice.
in Kingston, Ontario, but I'm going with the theme that you had with musical guests.
Mm-hmm.
So musical beer, Sam Roberts Band, Canadian band, I think Juno
There we are.
award winning. He makes his own beer, and it's something.
And it's a liquid. It's
Yeah. Just with what's available here, it says Spearhead Brewery has teamed up with Sam Roberts Band, and they're donating a portion of all profits of specialty 6-packs to Sam Roberts Band Ale to save hospitality.ca, which is great. Great cause. The beer itself, I'm not used to it. I get PTSD from side launch, and if anybody
my favorite.
has listened to the show, I don't like side launch. One of them, it was like their wheat beer. It had a taste to it.
Yeah,
And
there's one. It's a wheat beer and it's banana cloves.
yeah,
That'd be
okay. That I looked at the ingredients again to double check. It's not it that none of that is in here, but it has that same taste to it. So it might be like maybe it's the malt, like a really sharp malt, or I don't know. Anyway, it is not my style. I will drink the rest of it, see how it sits, but just in case I get a little angry during the show, this isn't really calming me.
I kind of wish I knew a Sam Roberts song off the top of my head.
Yeah, yeah.
To help like layer it in over it, but I unfortunately kind of forgot them. So
Play it in, yeah.
oh, hey, at least it's for charity. You're drinking to charity.
Yeah,
That's all that counts.
Absolutely, great cause.
Yeah. Now we talked a bit before the show. I recently was able to dip into The Ascent, which just launched on Game Pass,
Okay.
and it's an isometric, post-apocalyptic type shooter. So almost think Diablo, but steampunk. Not steampunk. Blade Runner. So if Diablo was run in a Blade Runner type world.
So when I saw this game, because I did want to play it, I do not have Game Pass. I know everyone loves Game Pass, and Game Pass is the thing. But it reminded me of that old PC game. I'm not sure if anybody knows it, but Crusader. And it's kind of
nice.
just like a robot kind of human going through this, again, not steampunk world, but like mechanical, neon Blade Runner-esque.
Yeah, no. So the game is like it's great. It's really crunchy. I'm really enjoying it. I think the more interesting part about it is I could only play the first like 30 minutes. You know, dad time, had to get in and out. Didn't have a lot. I'm hoping to maybe after the show here get back into it. What really hit me about it, in even just a little bit that I played, you could just immediately tell. I'm curious if you've had the same type of thing. It's like, this is deep, this is wide, there's a lot here, and I really like it. I wish I was young enough to actually enjoy this.
Yeah.
I wish I had time.
Absolutely, right? It's like one of those things where you're like, wow, all these systems in this game seem really, really involved and will take a lot of my brain power to understand them and make them work so that I can win at the game. And I have had those games. I love Divinity Original Sin just off the top of my head. It is a game that requires a lot of brain power and a lot of just thinking about what's going to happen next and planning, and is very deep. So if this is like a game like that, I can totally understand where you're just a little light on time. You need to be in that age. 20 years ago, 10 years ago, let's say 10. 20 is just too much.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like 10 when you had your nights, when you had some weekends, and you could really put in some sessions. I think it's not. I don't think this one's going to be. There's going to be parts where you're supposed to meet up with other people, have player types that match off each other.
Oh, okay.
Great. I think it's where I'm more concerned about is it seems there's going to be a lot of side quests. There's going to be a lot to do. There's going to be a lot of things to achieve and check out and upgrade. And that's where it's like, I'm going to have just enough time to do the base story in the bare minimum possible. And that sort of just saddens me in that welcome to Dadland. Like, you're barely going to be able to enjoy this as much as you want.
Right. And knowing you, it might make your eye twitch a little bit if you can't do the side quests. You know, it's going to be those unanswered question marks on the map. And knowing that you won't have the best character at the end of the game, you know, because you do those side quests, you meet a boss, you're like, whatever, man. Like,
that's my favorite.
I'm going off.
That's my absolute favorite. I love being overpowered for bosses. That's the absolute best.
Yeah, because you're like the no fail. Like, I am going to breeze through this. I've done everything else in the world. I'm ready for this. But yeah, if you're just playing the base missions, it's kind of unnerving. You're just going in. I'm like, I hope they built this game just for the bare minimum.
I hope they have a dad track. Basic no damage mode. Now one of our favorite dads over on Twitter, and that's at Ritter Gaming. He'd posted out an interesting question to the community, or rather to Twitter, just asking who uses parental controls for their kids' games and platforms. And Jeff, you had some. On my side, my kids really haven't. Their experience with it is so locked down. Although I'll kind of talk about a bit more of that later in the show.
Yeah.
But it's so locked down, there's not really need to have overarching grand parental controls because there's very limited what they can do. You have messed a bit with parental controls, so I understand.
Yeah, just really familiar with PlayStation, and the offering there is I can go into the rating of each game and say what to turn off for each profile, which is great. So my older one can obviously access a little bit more of what I can share in my gaming library with him, and my younger one, I'm going to tone it down a little bit, and I'll turn it off when we want to all play together, and I'm there, and I can watch them. But I find that PlayStation has a lot of parental controls there. What did surprise me was Nintendo's offering, just being a family-friendly console, and maybe they don't really need to go down that rabbit hole too much with just the games they offer. But their parental controls are really just timing. So if you want them on for an hour, you can set 60 minutes on the app that you have to get, and it'll show you the play time and when the time's up, and you can turn off the console from there. But there's no real, like, I only want them to play G-rated games or whatever. Like, there's nothing like that where you can really set that. And then the profiles, it's just like they can access any game that you have on the home screen. So,
man, that's really bizarre. That seems like a swing and a miss. Like, from the family fun console that is Nintendo Switch, like the family system, they don't have some sort of stronger, better capabilities.
Right? Like, you could have Doom sitting on the home screen and then Mario Kart next to it. And it's just, and you can't customize that either, right? Where, at least you can organize, well, in PlayStation 4, not PlayStation 5, but folders, right? Hide stuff away. Can't really do that here. So, yeah, it is kind of odd, but maybe Nintendo just shrugs. So you'll buy it anyway.
Or like, yeah, I wonder what it would be if you're going to dedicate it as a family console, you're just not going to have them there, or bizarre. I can't believe it's just timing. That's really unfortunate. I can't really speak to the Xbox as that hasn't come about yet, but I don't know that it's from my general understanding of it, it doesn't sound like it's quite as strong. It sort of sounds bizarrely that PlayStation has the strongest parental controls, no?
Yeah, it's kind of, it is a surprise that way. You do have to dig down into it, and it takes a little while to get going because everybody needs a profile to be set up. But once you do that, yeah, there's lots of options there if you go down that path and really, really fine-tune your kids' gaming experiences. At least that's there as an option. Again, don't have to turn on if you don't want to, or you just set playtime limits like Nintendo does. You can do that on PlayStation pretty quickly. So,
well, one of my greatest ways of having parental control was to, in fact, have a controller in my hand. And I don't have that anymore, Jeff.
Oh,
I don't have a controller in my hand anymore.
No.
You know what happened in my household?
What's going on?
So my youngest, which you'd think this would be, gaming dad achievement level up for us, but my youngest, is turning 4. My oldest has introduced him to gaming.
Nice. Well, that's good.
So he's always been around in so much as, my son and I would be playing and he's in the room kind of jumping around playing about. So it's not like he's never seen it before, but just recently my oldest son wanted to get him in and started to give him a controller, and they started to play Mario Kart. My favorite part is that at one point he actually left for a snack.
Okay.
In Mario Kart, but all the settings were for, automatic racing, pretty much. He's still got 4th place. Not even just touching it. It was like, hey, congratulations, son. You got a snack and you got 4th place.
Exactly. I don't even need to touch the controller. Look at this, Dad.
So here there's the duality of things where that's kind of exciting. Like, cool, the other one's getting into it. It feels a bit young, but it's a really controlled environment, and he's just playing a little bit here and there. So great, fine, that's wonderful. But now, I'm just not called upon to play anymore.
Oh no!
I think he almost prefers to play with his brother, and I'm just sitting out on the window as it's raining, like just rain streaking down my face, knocking on the glass. Can I come in? What about me, guys? What about your old man?
They hand you the controller that's not plugged in. They're like, oh, here you go, Dad.
Oh, they would. Those jerks.
No battery.
I mean, I guess I gotta I suppose I have to try to weasel my way back in.
Yeah.
And see if I can find a controller. And I will say we just recently moved, and we've been just beyond ourselves trying to get things unpacked, get things out of boxes. So I haven't had a lot of downtime.
Right.
So hopefully that changes a bit, and I can be with them a bit more. But
yeah,
man, I'm replaced. Did you go through that? Have you been replaced before in your dad career?
I will say I have been replaced. It did work out to be a phase, so I would enjoy it. That's my advice to you. It might seem a little upsetting now, but you'll wish it was there again. So
You'll learn to love it.
that's right. But yeah, definitely when my younger son was playing along, and my older one wanted to introduce him to a lot of games, like, hey, you got to try this, and look how good I am at this, right? Like, he wanted to show off a little bit to his younger brother. Completely okay, like, as long as they're, not at each other's throats. But yeah, I was replaced because they wanted to go off on their own and play the games. And it's very hard to find couch co-op games more than 2-player that makes sense. So I was left out a lot of the times. And then when a couple years went by, a little bit older games, they wanted me back in. So
okay.
I will say it is a phase, at least for maybe the Mario Kart phase, we'll call it. But as they get older, maybe the Diablo 3 phase, you'll be back in there. Who knows?
Okay. Man, that is so hopeful. That gives me so much hope. Where it's like, look, just all these like kind of smaller, child-friendly games. Take a knee. Yeah. Just take a pass. Don't worry about it, and then you'll be hopefully brought back into the fold to steer them through some of the older titles.
Yes, that is my advice to you. That's me just prophesizing for you. I've been there. Don't worry about it.
Okay. It was at first. I'm telling you, it was just a roller coaster of emotions because I first saw him kind of playing around, and and they were just like having a ball. Yeah. And I'll say this too: like, there's something about seeing both of them like together, laughing and playing together. Because I think about my brother and I when we used to play.
Yeah.
You get those kind of fond memories about when you and your own family used to do it. And like, there's something kind of special about playing with a brother or a sister.
Yeah.
Right. There's something about that kind of young, familial bond. Very special. I'm very fond. So to see them happen, it's like, there it is. My childhood is repeating, and they're laughing, and this is so heartwarming. Yeah. Hey, can I play? No, we're fine. And like, wait a minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, that's the product of like what you've kind of given them, right? And now they're running with it, and you're like, oh wait, like, this was my idea. You still need me in this, right? So
you still totally need me, right?
Yeah.
No, but okay, I'm telling you, like, hearing you speak about it, that gives me massive hope. So I think we'll.
It's on tape now, so you can shove it in my face later if it never happens again.
Jeff, it never got back.
They never came back.
They stole my other consoles. I have nothing. Nothing. But now, so that means that I am getting a lot less screen time.
Yes.
That sounds something you'd mentioned to me, like something that you guys are actively doing. Sounds like you're trying to balance out some screen time in your household. What's that all about?
Yeah, so coming from a lot of screen time down to like, hey, this is a lot.
You look at the app and it's just like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I could have learned a language.
Yeah. Like, and again, as a gaming dad, it's kind of different, right? Like, I think of my parents, like, they had no idea what gaming was. Like, they could see it as like just TV screen and like, oh yeah, gotta kick them off, go outside, right? Yeah. But it was, and we're really not coming from a place of like what the hours are. Like, again, that is a concern, but it was the attitude changes. So they were getting snarky. They were getting like, oh, I get to game before I do my laundry, right? Like, it wasn't like a give and take. It was just like, I get this, I'm owed this, and I don't have to do anything else, right?
Could I say that I kind of had a visceral dad reaction when you said that? Oh, I could do it before my laundry. It's like, excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I think we just triggered every dad listening to the show. Where it's like every dad just like looks up immediately, like, what was that?
Pardon me? It's the double take, right? Like, what?
I said pardon.
Yeah, in the dad voice. So yeah, that's where we were coming from, where that attitude was not sitting right, wasn't really helping anybody, because then obviously they would be upset, we would have to be upset to deal with their upsetness, and then we'd have that conversation. It like blew out time that we didn't want to spend trying to calm them down on something that obviously was taking away from their responsibilities, right? Just as being a human or part of this family, right? You need to help out. You're older now. You are not a toddler that gets to go around and do whatever they want, own the world. A little bit different. Yeah. So we kind of introduced, my wife came up with a great kind of analogy saying it's like you need a certain amount of vitamins to live, right? Like, that's, you need different vitamins for different things, and they all come together to make you who you are. And video games can be one part of that vitamin, right? Like that's entertainment. But you need other things. You need creativity. You need to go read. You need to go outside and just burn off energy.
Activity, yeah.
Like all this stuff comes together to make you who you are. And some days will be a little bit more vitamin of one category than the other. But then, maybe the next day it kind of balances out, right? So we introduced that to them. And to kind of like reset everything, we invite them to the screen. So if we want to play a movie or something, we invite them to come watch, or we want to play a game, invite them to come play a game. And until they kind of learn, okay, this is enough for me.
Moderation.
I need to go do something else. Right. So that's where we're at. It's a rough, bumpy road, but I think we're getting through it.
It's going to quick story and then a question, because it's just sort of funny when you say they learn the moderation. One thing that had happened was at some point I realized that I would almost prefer my kid to play Minecraft than watch YouTube. Okay. Especially some of the YouTube he was watching. It's like if I need you to be on a screen because we're unpacking, for instance, and I really need you locked in for an hour so I can concentrate, I'd almost prefer you be playing Minecraft, which is, in my view, creative and like challenging, as opposed to just YouTube drivel.
Yeah.
And there was some times when he would come up, because we'd have a conversation where usually Minecraft or like game time was after supper. You eat your supper, then you can have your game. And if you've been good all day and like you've done what you needed to, you can have it after supper.
Right.
There's been a few times where it's like, listen, buddy, you played a bunch during the afternoon, like you can't play anymore. Like that's too much time. Yep. So he regulated himself a bit, where sometimes he'd come in and say, hey, Dad, I'm going to turn off the game because I want to play it later tonight. So I'm going to shut it off now so I don't have to take too much time. I'm like, smart man.
Yeah.
So
that's good.
I thought I love the investment in some ways, where it's like, well, I want to make sure I play later, so I don't want to use it up all now. How has it gone? Like, was there great resentment at first and then they got over it? Has it been long standing? Has it been, it's never going to be smooth, but I mean, it's been wonderful in that it's kind of been everything you hoped. What's been the outcome?
At the beginning, it was very difficult for them, because it's like breaking a habit, right?
Oh yeah.
And we're kind of tiptoeing around. Again, everybody's kind of going through a hard time with the pandemic. They were in virtual school for a year. We're working in more and more contacts as things kind of open up. But so we're kind of careful about, their only, kind of escape from a lot of this is games or a screen. So we're kind of careful around that. But it was breaking that habit that they were pouty. The pouty where they kind of sit on the couch and they just stare at you. You know what I mean? Like they're just like, and you ask them like, go do something. Like you can draw, you can paint, you can run, you could do whatever. Like they're like, no, boring. And then they just sit there, and you're like, well, okay, I'm not gonna.
Yeah,
care.
It's my favorite, because just like, I appreciate the effort, but like you need to understand that this is great for me.
Yeah.
Like I still get you quiet. Like you're not punishing me in the slightest.
Absolutely.
This is just personal.
Yeah, and then time goes very slowly for a 10, 11-year-old sitting on the couch just pouting, right? Like in their own kind of like emotional stew. So by all means, you'll learn your lesson if you sit there that long. But over the days and weeks, I guess I would say, it has gotten a lot better. They are more into a different routine and kind of understand what we're trying to do and what was happening, and their attitudes have changed, especially towards each other. A lot better collaboration there. They take morning walks. They instituted that themselves. We didn't even tell them. So they are coming up with these things. So it's great. It's good to see.
Let's go on a tangent. Didn't they discover a husky and start to walk it for no reason? And this, I'll remind listeners from a few episodes ago where one of Jeff's sons had invited the entire neighborhood for a block party, unbeknownst to his parents. So there's a new story with a husky, apparently.
Yeah, so I'm at work. I work remotely. My younger son comes in and saying, hey, Dad, we found this lost husky. We love him, and we're going to take him for a walk. And as a dad, you're like, what is going on? There's lots to process.
And I'll love him, and I'll keep him, and I'll pet him. And
I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm just like, Going through my mind, I'm like, did they mistake a coyote for a husky, and now they're trying to train this coyote that's wild running
God.
around? I don't know. So anyway, I go out there, and my older son, the one that arranged his own block party, is running along with his husky that is just loving it. Like, he's having the time of his life.
It's like, yeah, finally, someone's paying attention to me.
Yeah, he's found his new best friend. So, yeah, they found this lost husky. We eventually got him to his rightful owner, but only after I, basically left work for 45 minutes to try and leash this dog and find out where he lived. But yeah, so there's some side effects, I think, from, this kind of individual go do other things. I'm like, other things, great,
Okay.
but like,
It's like I love the intent. I love the animal loving. I love the nature part of this, son.
yeah.
The dog theft doesn't fly though.
No, we need to not go to strange dogs and befriend them immediately. I honestly thought it would go outside and he would be riding the thing into battle or something. It's just his personality. He'll make friends with anybody. So
That'd be...
I don't know, man.
When did your life take a drastic turn? My dad took away my video games, so I started stealing dogs.
That's how it starts. He's learning
just-
on the streets.
Oh Lord, that's just the best part. I would love to talk to your coworkers too. Where's Jeff? Oh, he had to take the afternoon off. His son planned a block party.
Yeah.
Where's Jeff again? Oh, yeah, his kid stole a dog, so
Yeah.
he's gone for the day.
Yeah. You want one other quick story?
Please,
He
all the
also
time.
he also thinks my brother's getting married, so I'm planning a bachelor party, and the kids think a bachelor party is very different than what adults think
boy.
a bachelor party is.
I
So
hope so.
they think it's just some big dance, like there's some big dance, and they're invited.
Oh
So
hell no.
nobody said any of that. But my son's outside, and I tell my little one to go out and get his brother for supper, and he's like, "Hey, supper! You gotta come in. The bachelor party's starting. We're invited. We're going." All the neighbors are wondering what the hell is going on.
How did I get a call to child services and you haven't? Your
I
kids
tell
are
you-
planning parties. Your kids are stealing dogs. Your kids
I
are going
know.
to bachelor parties.
Maybe they're I any day, Trevor. I don't know. They'll hear a knock at the door and be like, "I totally understand why you're here."
Yeah. There was an incident on August 1st where your son insinuated going to a bachelor party.
I don't.
You
get
should
it.
know as a father that that's not very appropriate. It's like,
It was-
yeah, lady.
Yeah. Take him for like half a day, and you'll just understand, and then come back. That's all it'll take. So.
Lord, that's
I
just
don't know,
absolutely amazing. oh, my sides hurt. We gotta wrap it there. That is fantastic. All right, but the Sam Roberts beer. How has that sat with you through this episode?
Yeah, again at the start it was like not my taste, but I think over the course of the beer, I don't mind it. I think it is a good tail end of the beer. So, yeah, just be wary of the start, but the finish is great.
Excellent.
How about you over there with the
Doing all
voyage?
right.
Are you on a voyage?
I am on a voyage, a flavor voyage.
Well, that's good. I mean, it'll go well with maybe my son will plan a different party and you can go to it and bring the voyage.
Cannot wait. I swear I wanted to get this right. Okay, it is this one. Yes. So it's Innocent Gun. It's a fairly distinctive red can. Let me try to find it. I'm on video for our live taping. Where are you at here? Trying to find the name of it because I just think it is a bit more of a popular beer, and I think it is an awesome point of reference. I think. Cask mature. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so it's exactly what I thought. So Innocent Gun, barrel aged. So this beer goes into bourbon barrels, and the flavor ends up being very distinctive. Like you can kind of hit the note. You cannot have a bunch of these. You do not drink 6 Innocent Guns.
Right.
But it's very tasty. It's very full bodied. I can't say that this has a whiskey taste or something like that, but it is absolutely of that ilk where there's just that extra body to it where it's the finish of it is so bold and notable that it's tasty. Again, like I suggest everyone give it a try because it's quite delicious. Nice. You're not going to be slamming them back on a summer party, but Renaissance Brewing Company Voyager IPA.
Wow.
Surprise and a pleasant one at that. So, summer beers continue. Hey, gaming dads, there's a lot to unpack here this week. Sounds like we could have a lot of help. Have you had any experiences with parental controls that you could pass along tips for other gaming dads? Have you had dog capers with your sons? That
Right.
might be able to go. Is there a game that you yourself just wish you'd got into or able to more than you suspected of it? Do you have any tips for screen reset times? Have you tried to kind of walk back, have your sons or your kids being too much in front of screens?
Yeah.
Have you had the great sadness that I'm experiencing of being kicked off my console by my two sons now teaming up and playing? We'd love to hear all these stories. Reach out to us at our website, newdadgaming.com. Leave us your story. Would adore and love to be able to feature that on the show. Reach out to us. But everybody, thank you so much for listening. This has been New Dad Gaming. If you like the show, you can find us on all the major podcasting networks. So that is Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, Stitcher, any of the major ones. Just search for New Dad Gaming. If you want to interact with us, we'd love to hear from you at New Dad Gaming on Facebook and Twitter. And as I mentioned, on the website as well. If you like the show, it helps us incredibly if you subscribe, if you rate us, leave a comment, and share it along for any other new dads who game. Until next week, my name is Trevor. I have a 3-year-old, a 6-year-old, and no controller for the old man.
Oh, no. And I'm Jeff. I have an 11-year-old, possibly a husky, and an 8-year-old.
And just remember, just because he became a dad
Does not mean it's game over.
Cheers.
See you later.